daily blog in which he analyzes what's going on and all the various trends and doing analysis. And he's very keen on peer-reviewed papers. He's not interested. He's not very interested. You know, he will talk about anecdotal evidence and will say it's anecdotal, or if there's a paper that's been published which is yet to be peer reviewed, he will acknowledge that. But I recall, we watch his blog every day. He, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, showed some, and it's not a peer-reviewed paper, but it's analysis of the fact that a mask is not to protect you against other people, it's for you to protect other people. And looked at research on spread of, of aerosols from someone who's wearing a mask, because the aerosol spread varies. Of course, we're spreading aerosols. We're singing, we're spreading aerosols even further.
Yeah, that's true.
Analysis, this is an academic analysis of what they've done of how spread, and 2 meters is very nominal, actually. And it can be, particularly like a sneeze or a cough, we're talking millimeters of the aerosol. And and that's why confined space is so dangerous. And he's talking about how wearing a mask limits the spread of the aerosol, even when you cough or sneeze. And I can't remember now, I gave the percentages, but then from the other side, how much it protects you if from somebody else, and there is some efficacy there. But then the figure I vaguely remember was if 2 people are wearing a mask, that the transmission rate goes down to 5%.
Yeah.
So, but it's dependent on, basically, to really work, everybody has to wear a mask.
Yeah,
if you don't have everybody, the percentage of efficacy goes right down. But, so there is some evidence out there, and I mean, in the end, it can't do any harm, can it?
Yes, because in my family, my parents-in-law are strongly, at the beginning, I'm just okay. I don't think it's work. I'm not really feel comfortable, because even my hometown is Beijing. We not really wear masks, but my parents-in-law from north, so they think, it's normal, and also in hospital it's normal. Yes. So at the beginning, I'm very a little bit not comfortable. I think most reason is not comfortable. And then, they start pushing me, you should wear masks. But you cannot argue with parents-in-law. You cannot use this academic theory. No, it doesn't work at all. Because, the big thing is the risk of my father-in-law. So, okay, I started wearing it. But I'm still trying to find some, like you said, the academic papers. If from point of view, we need evidence. Maybe you have one group wear, one group not wear, and surely, as you said, if they wear correctly, and it maybe works. But how? What do you mean correct? So it's hard to measure it, or it's just a feeling of being protected. It's maybe when you wear, you feel you are being protected, but from scientific point of view, what's the performance? We don't know.
We're talking about non-surgical masks here, of course. But it's interesting. A few weeks ago, right at the very beginning, there was 2 days running. There was a chap called Gregory Lim, who was waiting for his wife got caught up in China. He's Korean, and his wife got caught up in China. So they had a picture of Gregory with his sort of saying, my wife was visiting family in China and got caught up, and then and then she gets put in. She got put into quarantine here, not home isolation, but proper quarantine. And then they, you know, how he's pining for her and everything because she's pregnant. And then they had a picture the next day of Gregory and Lily back together. She got out of, you know, it was the day out of quarantine. You may not remember that, but we thought it was interesting because they're our neighbours. And then,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I was out in the garden and Lily came over the back fence and she said, "I've just had a bulk shipment in from China," and she gave us 50 masks.
You know, it's very, very joke. You know, people actually even have deals like trading on the masks, and you see the price. I think it's crazy. It's crazy up, and you know, so you don't know. You know, it's a little bit crazy, like the toilet paper thing. Yeah, but I like to, you know, I see the Australia. I subscribe. They call it conversation. I'm not sure you got it or not. And the people talking about this toilet paper phenomena, and people say why, you know, toilet paper is sort of you know, that's sensitive. Actually, they invite people from different area, you know, like psychology, like health, and a lot of reason. I think the first thing is from economic point of view is like it's cheap. And it's not will be expired. So if you buy more, it means you can keep it, you know, as long as you it's not like food. And another reason I think is psychology says, you know, toilet paper is a logo of controlling.
Yes.
You know, it means, you know, like now we have this modern culture, you know, it's a toilet paper, you know, it means you can get rid of those dirty things. And when you have this one, whenever something not clean, actually you can use that. Okay. So he said it's like you got a psychology need. You want to control something. So the toilet paper actually is maybe meet people's need. And it's very, I can share the article with you. It's very interesting. It's not like just happening and they invite different area. It's like a reason. It's an underlying reason, but we just don't really think about that deep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, a son of a friend of ours, he went out and bought 1,000 cans of food.
Wow. Oh my God. Thousands of cans of food.
He's going to be eating canned food for a long, long time. It's crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it is crazy. It is crazy. I see some people really go extremely way. Yeah. And they put all this food in their, you know, the garage. But you know, the first couple of days when have this one, I go to the supermarket, it is crazy. Yeah. And people feel pandemic, and yeah, it's a little bit scary. But I think later on the government actually gave a very good message. You know, it's they take actions. I think that's appreciated. And also I think I really appreciate in New Zealand is, you know, when this thing happened, actually from university they gave a lot of message about mental health. And they give a lot of message about, you know, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. It's like more from moral, because from a physical point of view, it's like we don't know the solution yet. But what we can control is we can control our emotions. We can control how we, you know, handle others. I think the government actually gave a very strong message, you know, about what we can control. I think that is something I really appreciate, because you did see people are panic, stress, and people are having stress, the emotion things come out. And that's why you see this Australia, you know, the lady actually fighting. And even in New Zealand, we see there is cases, you know, is got fighting. I think the people just want to find a way, try to release their stress.
Yes.
But maybe not the right time. You know, I don't think actually is about this, you know, the Asian whatever. Sometimes it's just a matter of time and matter of who you meet. You know, sometimes, but yeah, but sometimes, but what I really appreciate here is you know, the government actually put a lot of efforts on the mental be kind. I think it's quite a humanity. You know, it's treat you like a human. So that's it. Really appreciate. But on the other hand, I think Asia is quite strong. pushing that. Maybe from the West, you see is a loss of human right, but on the other hand, this sort of thing maybe is really effective, when you're talking about control, especially when the disease is really spreading very quickly. So that is something I can feel the difference about the Asian and so you see, widely speaking, we always have some debating in home who is right, China style, Asian style, US style, New Zealand style, and surely, my parents-in-law, they strongly think is a Chinese style is right, but but the mental is something, maybe we're not really aware much, because like in China, it's not about happy or not happy. People always say, because the toughing is like it's good in Asian culture. If you're tough to your kids, you're tough to, it means you really care. But on the other hand, here, it's just a different culture. I think it's interesting to see this, different culture things. It's no right and wrong. It's more like a different ways are handling things. So that is something I appreciate. Sorry, I think I talked too. I see some people are joining us, like Selman, Sue, and Ambrin. So, do you mind actually? You can introduce yourself, and we're just waiting other people come in. If you don't mind, because it's more like a casual talk. It's Peter actually from our IEEE New Zealand North section. And also tag, I think is probably is coming, and so I think the reason we like to invite them is I think they are seniors, they are very experienced, and I think I cannot say I'm young, I became old, but I'm sort of like a middle carrier, like a middle age. And when I'm working at home, I'm struggling on on one side I'm really enjoy. It's more time with family, and and sometimes it's convenient. You don't need to actually worry about traveling. Otherwise I need to get up very earlier. I live in the West Auckland, is West Harbour, and it's quite take a long time. But yeah, now it's you can have your own gyms, and if you organize well, I think I quite enjoy it. But on the other hand, I think is my daughter Isabella, and because they are now go to school and stay with me, and they do online learning as well. But I think maybe school is not ready. I think even myself is not ready as a university academic. Oh, I think tag is joining in. Okay, so probably tag. I see your mic is turned off, and maybe you can turn on.
Yeah. Hi.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Peter.
Hello. Hi,
All good.
Hello, Ting.
Yeah. Actually, just we talk about mask. I'm wearing mask, but I'm looking for the evidence. I'm looking for academic paper to show mask it really works. And yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Well, there's always controversial things about it, right? People say it may not work, but some, I mean, it works, but you need to replace it in every 3 hours or something.
Yeah.
That because of the surgical mask, you cannot wear it for long, so you need to keep replacing it. So that will work. But yeah, I don't know whether it's practical or not, but it's
Okay. Because we're just thinking, it's good to have a paper, have two group. One group have a mask, one group don't.
Oh, that's a control study. Yeah.
But we cannot do that. Okay. Sorry. I see Bong Chung is joining as well. So what's the time now? It's actually have a little chat. Okay. So maybe let's start. And the first thing is really our great pleasure can invite Peter and Tag and join us and offer us this webinar about working from home. And because even for myself, I got a little bit happy things and a little bit struggling while I'm working from home. So I really like looking forward some advices from seniors. So probably I pass the time to Peter and Tech, and you guys actually run and whatever topic you can start. I think I put some basic beats there. So okay, this is time. Yep.
Just a quick question: are you able to record this? So
yeah, I'm recording. I think I should tell our audience. The reason is we see some members are not joining us because of the time availability thing. So I like to record, and I should let everybody know. I really appreciate this team meetings actually give me notes say you should let people know you are recording this. So I hope you don't mind, because basically we just want to record this milestone topic, and maybe I will never meet faced like 100,000 years, but it's a very special thing. So I like to record it and especially share with those cannot join us today. So yep, your times, Peter and Tech, please.
Chick, do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
I can go first, but because you are pretty much I would say the most experienced one, because you've been working from home since a number of years. But yeah, I could have
all right.
For me, I can kind of new things. It has taken me a while before actually I kind of enjoying it so far. Especially I find it a bit more efficient as well. If you have everything set right, the environments, everything has to be kind of set in the sense that you mentally have to be prepared. So what I'm doing now, I mean, the first few days is a little bit strange because you find it a bit not really uncomfortable, but it's just a bit strange. That's all. What I did in the first few days is I'm pretty much doing the same routine as I go to office, but I'm not driving or anything like that. But the same thing, you wake up and you start doing things, you're preparing to go to office kind of thing. So that's what I do. And then I start working, and then usually if I have a tea break, then I take the tea breaks, and that's what. And then lunchtime as well. So it's pretty much going around what I have done over the years, if you're going to the office, except without traveling and without even worry about what to wear. You have to kind of have to dress up or things like that. You don't need to worry about it and just do the things. And after a few days, you get the hang of it. Then it become very good, and I find it very efficient, and I do quite a bit of things because there's no disturbance, except if you have a meetings, that's all. Otherwise, there's no disturbance. There's no student that coming to you and see you or talk to you or some other peoples as well. So in that sense, it become more focused, and I can do the job pretty well and very efficient in that sense. The good thing about it is that you save a lot of time because you don't need to travel. So that's giving you more time to do your work. And then also you save costs in that way. The only downside is you don't talk to people. You can talk only from using the virtual kind of things. That's the only downside, but we still have to conduct a little bit of meetings with teams and all that. The only not good side about that kind of meeting, if you have a big groups, then it is not quite conducive in the sense, because you don't have that kind of what you call instantaneous responses and all that stuff, because everybody has to take turn to talk. So because if you have too many of people there, then you have a problem. So team is good if you have like, you know, 4 or 5 people where you can actually see everybody on the screen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't see them, right? You only can see about 4 and yourself. So that's what I need to do. And then also I have become more so-called healthier in the sense, you know, I need to go out and walk through over the, you know, every day, you know, like in the morning before, and then after around 4 or 5, then I start going out and start doing some walks, and that's keeping me in terms of the physical health, you know. In the mental health, of course, you start, you know, you don't think too much about it. You start focusing that you just like working in the office is pretty much that kind of things. And another things that helps as well, fortunately, I do not have a young children so they can, you know, be occupying my time or things like that. So there's no disturbance. So everything is running as I would like to. And, you know, that's the only, I think that's a good thing about it. I'm not sure what other things that I can talk about it. Yeah, I still can communicate with my students, with my other staff members, or all these meetings, and a lot of this is still can be done. I may not be as effective because I would like, you know, my style is I always like to go talk to the person directly. Not even, I mean, even in the office, I don't use, most of the time I don't call. If I need to talk to somebody, I just go to the office and talk to them. So that's what I'm missing with this kind of work, kind of from home kind of stuff. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm getting a hang of it. And then from next week onward, we may be able to go back to office, but I don't think I will go back like, you know, the all full weeks kind of thing, maybe about 2 days a week kind of stuff. I don't know. But because I already like to get used to this kind of work habit now, become, you know, so it's a bit hard, slowly need to go back, you know, to the norm, I think. Yeah, I think that's about what I have so far. I don't know, Peter, you have anything else to add, or you have more than, you know, things to share?
Yep. Oh, well, I can, yeah, I can share some things. Thanks, that was good. The commute thing is particularly in Auckland is quite valuable.
Yeah.
You can lose an hour or 2 hours a day on that.
Yeah.
Which adds to the stress. You're stressed when you get to work and you're stressed when you get home. William's asked me just to introduce myself because a lot of you may not know me. In terms of my New Zealand North stuff, I'm a member of the Industry Application Society and also a member of the Computer Society. I have been chair of the Industry Application Society, chair of PACE, that's the Continuing Education Committee. I've held the Secretary Treasurer position for 3 years. I held Vice Chair for 2 years at one stage, Section Chair for 2 years. I'm now back as Vice Chair, more as a mentoring role. I'm into my 2nd year as Vice Chair again. And from the time that I retired as Section Chair, I've been your webmaster. So I'm the one who maintains the New Zealand North website. So that's me in IEEE terms. Okay, just from my experience, I've got 4 headings here to discuss. Initial parameters, I've called one, rules of engagement, personal arrangements and conflicts, and work protocols. So I'll just throw these out here and make what you will of them and discuss. So under initial parameters, when you're thinking about working from home, you need to say, is this a temporary situation? Is this a temporary case? E.g. COVID? Is there a personal thing going on? You know, you might your wife might have a baby that you want to stay home and help. You might have an illness in the family. Or have you got a project that requires you really to be efficient, as Tech has talked, and sequester yourself? So depending on that is how you will, the degree and the detail to which you'll go in the arrangements you make. So those, the other parameter, is this aimed to improve productivity, including your employer's costs, because your employer saves money by not having you occupying a desk, or maybe hot desking, but if that still carries on after COVID. But certainly the employer stands to gain something. Apart from your productivity, there are other costs. So just be aware of those, because they become part of your negotiations. And importantly, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? Tech, I think, is an extrovert, if I can be so bold. Are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? Because that affects how you work, and may even exclude you from, if you can't sort of swing between the two or go down the middle, that may affect whether or not this will work for you at all. Okay, rules of engagement. I think if you're negotiating for working at home, you need to negotiate around core available hours. When are you expected to be available? This needs to be very clearly understood, because you may have a school run to do, which means you can't really start till 9:30 or something like that, depending on the situation. And you may want to start early, and I know people who do this, and finish early. But in between, there's some core hours that your employer needs you there. You need to work these out and make sure it's understood. And is there an expectation of availability outside normal hours? Because once you start working at home, there's this sort of almost this insidious thing, oh, they're available 24/7. So you need to have this expectation, particularly on international projects, where you may find yourself work at a meeting at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, I've had meetings that have involved Europe, South America, North America, Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. Work that one out as to how you find a common meeting time. Tell you, New Zealand draws the straw on that one. Email protocol, you need to work out what the expectation is on your turnaround. Phone protocol, you need ability to control where answering. Tech alluded to that. But, you know, you lose some advantages if people are phoning you all the time. SMS protocol, you need that. Same as phone protocol. You need availability of IT resources. It's worked out. After hours and weekends, because part of the flexibility may very well be that you don't work a Friday, or that you might work shorter hours, but you might say, look, it's more convenient for me to work a couple of hours in the evening, but it's no good if the IT resource is down. So, or it's not available in the weekends, depending on, you know, whether you're wanting to do catch up, because you've taken advantage of the flexibility of working from home. You need to work out where those resources are available. You also need to look at security of private and corporate information. What does your employer expect you to do in terms of maintaining that? And the software that's available. Are you expected to have software on your PC? Is there some special requirement, or is there cloud? Is something available in the cloud? And if it's a really, really secure organization, they might have a special requirement, and I've had this happen to me, for a corporate laptop that's got very secure, a special version of Windows even, and special encryption on the hard drive, so that if it's stolen, the corporate information is of no use to anybody. This needs to be established. You don't want to leave yourself open and liable. And also you need a reliable high-speed connection, and perhaps a VPN. Again, it's no good offsetting the stress or having relieved stress on commute to have it increased by an unreliable connection when you're trying to work. And also perhaps need to negotiate for perhaps increased use of utilities, your extra power, heating. That comes into back to the employer saving costs. So maybe there's a trade-off, an allowance that you can negotiate with them. Those are my thoughts on engagement. Then personal arrangements and conflict. Is there a separate part of the home available for work? Tech alluded to this. Yeah, I put in quotes here, going to work. Tech talked about this. You're going to work, so you have a routine. You're going to work, it's just that there's no commute in between, but you have this routine. And if you're lucky enough to have a study such as I have, that's fine. Otherwise, you have to work out some way that there's a place where you go to work. You need to look at the conflict of disturbing family at night. If you're having meetings at night, you need to negotiate with this. Making time with the family during the day. Now, if you have a young family, you have the flexibility, you can make time during the day, but you need to work this one out. And you need to have comfortable surroundings. You don't want to be, because you're devoid of personal, the personal interaction, that physical interaction that Tech talked about. You need to have comfortable surroundings. You don't want to think you're sitting in a prison cell all day. I suggest you get up and take a walk around the house or garden every so often. No one's going to argue, if you take 5 minutes to walk around the garden every hour. It's recommended anyway, get up from your desk, otherwise it's unhealthy. And who knows, you're pondering solutions. They may come to you in the garden or walking around the house. If you're meeting collegiality, can I suggest perhaps you have a daily Zoom break with everybody? An afternoon tea break. You may, sure, you're not around in the cafe or something around the coffee machine. Make your own coffee, sit down, just shoot the breeze for 10 minutes or 15 minutes as you do when you're at work. So you just not necessarily talking shop, and perhaps probably not talking shop, but actually just having a break. And are you missing your great coffee that you buy down the road? Well, I suggest you buy a machine and become your own barista. Hey, it's like it's like one of the guys I was talking to at Bunnings, one of the checkout guys, just before lockdown, and he said, I've gone and bought a guitar and I'm going to teach myself to play the guitar. So become a barista and don't miss the coffee. And Tech talked about this, and I suggest take a daily 30-minute walk in the afternoon. And everybody understands this is, I'm out. It could be after work, but typically during winter, probably in the light, needs to be sometime around 3 o'clock, because it's what I used to do. You clear the mind, it's great for the soul, and don't feel guilty about it. No guilt. You're a professional. You're not a button pusher that has to turn out 100 widgets a day or else. All right? This stuff is mind you, this stuff is working at home's the micromanager's worst nightmare. And if you've got a micromanager, he won't be very happy. Perhaps change job. You're professionals. And don't flagellate yourself over work-life balance. Static work-life balance doesn't exist, all right? We have times when we must apply ourselves to work to meet a deadline, and other times we don't have to. And the aim is to balance over the longer term. So it's an integration process, not a differential process, So don't flagellate yourself over that work-life balance thing. Important, have a periodic review with the family how it's working. They'll feed you back what they think. So be flexible and make adjustments if they start giving you the feedback, whether you meet once a week or once a fortnight. And if they say, look, this isn't working, that isn't working, you have to adjust it because they're the important ones. If you are having problems with the situation, I suggest you discuss it early with a trusted person. Don't bottle it up and have a crisis, work-wise, personally, wise. Talk early. Well, that's my personal arrangements, conflicts, work protocol. I've suggested here perhaps use caller ID to stream phone calls for callback. So you don't have to answer the phone all the time. Once you've established that protocol that I've talked about earlier, you could use caller ID. If it's the boss's ID, probably best to answer it, but otherwise, no. Check email as batches maybe, rather than breaking for every incoming. You're losing some of that productivity gain if your mind is being distracted all the time by answering an email. So do email in batches within the protocol that you've established, and do the same for SMS. And decide and communicate with everybody how urgent contact will be made. And I suggest the phone call with the caller ID will give you a clue. So if it's an urgent call and it's from someone on your team or senior, then you might want to answer it. Take the usual care with email or SMS communication. Lack of tone and body language. You need to temper what is being said. Err on the side of caution. Relationships are easily broken by unintentional language you use in an email. And because we're talking about an ongoing process, where we're using is our main communication, we need to be very careful. Educate the family that when you are working, and I put in quotes, door is closed, even if there isn't a door. So I talk about making time with the family above, talk about those personal arrangements. So they understand, daddy or your husband or your wife, they're working. So the door is closed. And if background noise is a problem in meetings, consider installing the noise cancelling software such as CRISP, K-R-I-S-P. That really works. That just will cut out the background noise, so you can have the kids on the floor playing away with their Lego or running trucks around the floor, and your meeting won't be disturbed. Of course, if they bomb your meeting, well, maybe can't help that, but that's establishing that the door is closed and that daddy's at a meeting and needs to be away. And as Tex said, I think if you, just as an aside, if you can establish maybe you go in once or twice a week and have a physical presence and just keep those physical contacts going. That's all I have to share.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tag and Peter. Actually, the two key message I got, actually, I'm interested on the tools, and from Tag is good to share the experience about this team. I didn't really use team to have big meeting before, and good to know, when you have more people, maybe the team cannot handle it, not like Zoom. That's why a lot of people use Zoom to have big meetings. And for Peter, I really appreciate you share with us about this background noise reducing tools. And I think I got this issue. Sometimes when I meeting my daughter Isabella with me, so thanks for that. So now I like to, I hope it's just a bit casual. So I like to share pass the time to our attendants. And do you have some question like to ask, or whatever? So I'd like to pass the time to our attendants. For example, like Bong Chung. And do you have some questions or issues you like to discuss? Bong Chung.
Yeah. Maybe I have a question for you, William.
Yes. Yes.
How do you work with your kids around?
That's a question actually I want to ask you. You know, that's why I invite you out, because you know, I think at the beginning is I don't know how about primary school there, because my daughter Isabella is 7 years old, and she actually has online learning as well. But I think the school is not really prepared. It's even like myself, you know, it's really my first time I have this online teaching. But I really appreciate like AUT, the learning center, they share with us a lot of materials. So that's probably 1 week or 2 weeks I got the coupons. But for their school in Maria View, and actually I think they have very good platform. They call Seesaw. It's great, and the content is perfect. You know, even I learn a lot of things. But the only thing I think I like to feedback them, but anyway, they will start next week. Is actually they don't really have this sort of real time, you know, instruction. So basically, what they do is they put tasks every day. 7 tasks is very average. Reading, like writing, understand, project, and even sometimes drawing. Like in the morning, they even have sports. You know, the kids is really enjoy, you know, have sports. And even sometimes she asked me to dancing with him as well, her as well. But after that, actually, the teacher don't really give some voice instruction. For example, she didn't really explain each questions. And you know, how you can imagine a 7 years kid actually can read all the instructions and understand. I think it's a little bit challenge, because I don't think it's an English issue, because Isabella is born in New Zealand. Her English is much better than me, and even he know much worse than me. But it's hard for her to understand. So basically, he will always dragging me, because my wife is working and she is working in the assured quality. So he's like essential workers. So she still keep working. So basically, most of the time I with my daughter, but luckily we stay with our parents-in-law, so we don't need to worry about dinner, food, shopping, whatever. So my only task is to assist my daughter have online learning, and so actually it's quite consume my time, because you know, for each questions you have to tell her how to do it, and you try to inspire her, you know, how to do that. But you know, like 7 years old, I think they are quite like socialized. They cannot be focused on something. They can do something, and then they ask, Daddy, can you check, you know, what this means? So I'm at the beginning, I'm a little bit struggling. Even sometimes emotion come up, because it's you know, sometimes we do have the task. But later on, I think it's I think probably the only way I cannot change her style. I cannot change others. So what I can change is myself. So I think that what I can do is I can sleep. I have a better sleep habit. So basically, like every evening, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I can sleep together. You know, it's like before, it's only like 11, sometimes even 12, and I get up very late. But after shifting this time, actually I can get up sometime like 4 o'clock, or even a little bit earlier. But I should make you know, the enough time to sleep, and then I can do a little bit like exercise. But you know, I know a little bit of Tai Chi, so I don't need to running. So even just go downstairs, you know, in the garden, I can do a little bit of refreshing. And I try to put my most important task in the morning, because that time is quiet, no people interrupt me. So like writing papers, you know, or writing emails, important emails, I put in the morning. And then after 8, everybody get up. So what I can do is I just stay with them, but I'm really struggling on the daytime. So because I didn't find a solution, that's why, you know, I'm really keen to have this one, and I hope we can learn something from others. And even, you know, faculty, I think they have run one is about working with kids, but I don't know why, you know, it's not a lot of academic there. So maybe there are some common strugglings. They not really raise a lot, so that's why I didn't. I think they actually help me in some other ways, but the key issues is how you can like Bong Chong said, how you can manage the time, especially when you use keys around you. I think to me is a research problem. That's why I like to open, that's why I invited you, because basically I think I like to hear something from you as well, Bong Chong. Yeah.
I think there's probably a phrase that quite accurately describes some of us here, which is we are not really working from home, but rather we are at home trying to work.
Yes, exactly. I like this one. Yeah, it's this twist. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So for myself, I have two very young kids. One is just attending year 1, and then the other one is just 1.5 years. Yeah. So probably what is most quite annoying for me is that especially when I was trying to record my video lectures.
Yeah.
And then because of the endless noise from my kids, I have to NG many times. I have to re-record many times. So it's not very efficient. It's taking up a lot more time than what normally I would spend on preparing my lectures. Yeah. But on the upside, I think maybe during the lockdown period, because we are always staying together, I think somehow or rather our family relationship becomes better. Yeah. In some ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Because actually I found is usually on Sunday, my mother-in-law, they will shopping, and I'm the driver. I'm quite suffer that because they enjoy. I'm not really enjoy. But now actually they all stay at home, and my wife can have more time with my daughter, and she knows actually probably the weekend is my time. I can catch up something missed. And and also it's like everyone in the family, they know it's actually I quite appreciate it. On the other way, is like people really stay together, and also every day we look at the news like COVID-19, and also we all come from China. We see the China ways doing things, New Zealand ways doing things. We sometimes even have some debating, but what I learned is never debate with your parents-in-law. is a issue, but I think there are something I did enjoy. Yeah, but other like what you said is how you can handle the time. I think once actually I learned is like while I'm teaching, I still use the real time. I don't know why I still prefer that. Even university say you should have recorded, and
so you have a synchronous lecture.
Yeah. But what I found is, when I see the student, I feel quite excited, and also because I have one class in South Campus, it's just for students, so it's quite easy for me to have better communication with them. So it can be my backup. So the next day I have the same class in city, so I try to use the South Campus one as a backup, and I found that it works for me. So that's why I asked my students, say, actually maybe you can share, and because some lecture use this asynchronized, I use the synchronized. So let me know which one you feel better. I think I'm trying to collect some feedbacks, and then while I'm teaching, and she just jump in. It's really automatically. I think I'm angry. I really scare her actually. Because I don't know why. It's not something you can control. So that's why I quite understand you is, sometimes if you're so focused, like our researcher, and suddenly you got noise, actually it's from your daughter, but you angry, and you sort of make some gesture. She really scared and he run away. But later on, I feel it's really bad to do that. And even my wife told to me, you really scare. So it's taken me quite a long time try to sort of smooth her emotions. And at the end, I think I said, okay, we buy a new bag for you. So I think that's a deal. I think she is okay now. Yeah. But what I learned is, it's not about you close the door. It's not about you tell your kids again, like 7 years old. I don't think they really understand what it means daddy is teaching. And even parents-in-law, they even you tell them again, and because they just sometimes hard to understand what the lecture's really doing. So they still make a noise and they still make some attacks, But yeah, that is what I'm suffering. So I didn't really find a good solution. Yeah, I have to say. So sorry for that. It's that's why I'm looking for the solutions. Yeah.
Well, you need to tape that door up, I see behind you.
No. You know what I do now? I put a big sign. It's in Chinese. I'm gonna start class. I didn't see it work, so I put some chairs or barriers just behind my door. I think that works because basically, if you put something sign, even they don't look at. But if you put a barrier, like a barbecue, called a barbecue
Yep.
one, yeah, it works. I actually say no, and also they really aware. Oh, you are very serious on this. I think okay. I think they get useful. Yeah. I think it's the barrier is working. The wording is not working. I think because we are not in the same page, and they kind of feeling you are teaching, but they don't really understand. What is that really means, especially while you talk to the lecture. So that is my poor way to bury my door.
Yeah. So you are closing you're closing a real door. And you need that software to stop the noise of their banging trying to get in. So
hopefully no fair, otherwise I cannot run out. So
but I've seen a demonstration of that particular software I recommended. I've seen a demonstration of it actually the other day, coming up on this subject that we're talking about, and saw someone's demonstration demonstrating it on a PC, on their desktop, and it was quite dramatic as to what it was doing. So it's worth a try to get that. You've solved part of the problem by getting, putting a barrier up, a real barrier, and then perhaps the final piece is to put some, put some noise cancelling software in place. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's why I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I never know that, so I don't really feel comfortable to wear the earphone. It's it's sometimes, especially if I sitting too long, I want to stand up, and the earphone sometimes got problems. But another thing I just want, sorry, maybe I should not talk too much because I like to give more time. But one thing I really want to share with you is be careful. If you have kids, they actually now more or less they have more time online because the teaching learning things, and they actually more smart than you think because once because I offer my daughter a gift of a bag, and we go to the shop and they out of order. So basically we are happy. it's no order, it's not our problem, it's take time, okay, we should go. And you see actually your kids can really remember it, especially they can really remember the website. And then another day, actually, my daughter asked me, Daddy, they have something already installed. And please pay, because basically he already goes through the step-by-step. He just stuck on this payment thing. Actually, it's a little bit shocked me because, I know some parents actually, they already pre-reloaded the credit card information. But for us, my daughter, my wife is not really good at computer, so she don't do that. And if me, sometimes I'm just lazy. I just put this, credit card information. So you should be careful. Sometimes your kids is much
smarter than you think.
And that's it's really scare me. And yeah, so that's why I see some stories. The kids actually just cost like thousands or hundreds or even more, and then they have this lawsuit, but no issue because basically they don't care it's who did, but it's you did, right? So and then later on maybe they give you money back. That's the issue. And another quick one is there is a lot of free online teaching class offered to the kids, and we join once, and I really suggest you. It's better you can stay with your kids to look at the lesson together, because some actually is a certificate. It means you can trust, but some actually is not. Like once, there is a lady actually teaching writing. I think I really appreciate it because I'm not good at writing and my daughter can learn. And hopefully I stay with her. But because the lady actually put a very, I think it's negative topic, like you know, the most scary thing you see. And he talking about, at least you don't write, you kill people. I say, what? You know, it's how you can talk about this? It's very negative. And then I think the lady crying, you know, she is teaching, and then suddenly he crying, you know, on the screen. And I think my daughter is quite scared. And I quite scared as well. I complained to this principal, but no response or whatever. But what I feel is, you know, you should really sort of monitoring what they are offering you. Is free, and maybe, you know, sometimes free is attractive, but especially for kids, we should be careful. Yeah. So sorry.
Free always comes with a payload, in my opinion, but it comes. That touches on the point I mentioned, that in a corporate sense, when you're working at home, that security issue I raised, you need to be careful about who has access. So you can't just walk away from your computer and leave it. So, and you need to assure your employer that you're maintaining good protocols, and not only walking away from your machine, but also that the older kids can't find out how to log in.
Yeah.
So that's, if you're really, you know, ongoing locking into working from home, you need to have that stuff sorted out. Otherwise, you leave yourself liable. And if you can't give the employer an assurance that you're aware of these issues and how you'll handle them, they may, you know, why should they let you work at home?
Yeah. I think there's another things that, you know, I'm struggling I'm not really struggling, but I have to trust all my staff that, you know, they're actually working at home, far from home, you know, which is, how do I know that they're working or not? So this is something that it has to, you know, I'm not sure, you know, it has to be trust to make sure that, okay, everything is has to be done professionally, and then people are just supposed to work what they're supposed to work on. And yeah, I think in terms of time is flexible. I think it's like people like you, William and Boon Chong, we got young kids. So you have to, I mean, I can kind of sympathize with you guys, because it's not easy, because these kids, they, you know, they really demanding a lot of energy from you, and that's something you need to, you know, find out how to arrange your working time and make sure that, you know, the least disturbance that you can get, so then you become a bit more efficient in that sense. So it's not easy, but something you need to try to see how, because kids have their own cycle as well. So in that way, you can try to work out how their cycle is, and then you try to fit in which one that you think that you can work on. That's how you need to do.
And yes, exactly. I actually, you know, why get like the text said, you know, at the beginning you try to stick with your old behaviors, and you face the conflict, and then you change to the new behaviors. But when I actually learn with him, actually I learn as well. I'm quite appreciate like a New Zealand system, like CISO stuff, you know, and even they taught like a New Zealand Sign Language, and my daughter actually taught me, and also even some words they call like head chalk. You know, one day actually when we walk, every day we try to have 1 hour, so it's another most beautiful thing I enjoyed. We have, if weather permit, we have like a long hour. You know, this time I passed to her, and she's actually teaching me, like when see this, you know, hedgehog and you know that small animal. I know the Chinese, but I don't know English. He tell me the hedgehog, but later on I come back to find in the dictionary, but actually it's not the right word. It's another word. But the hedgehog maybe is more a Kiwi slang or something. I still try to figure out, but I see, you know, and even when I go through his learning stuff, and you know, I think they have very rich resources. It's very, how to say, average. And even now they study the statics, probability. I think, well, I never think, because I think in New Zealand maybe the math is not that strong. But I've suddenly found actually there is a lot of things, and this style of teaching is very average. It's like diverse. Even they have the STEM project, like they should go outside, they should make something. And that is something I never thought, because I'm not really before I'm not really think it's a good one, but maybe just from my angle, I taught his mathematics and I found he's very slow, but other part is fine, like reading and dancing. And but now I suddenly found actually they have a NZ way, New Zealand ways to establish it. I quite appreciate it, actually. It's quite different from what I remembered when I was a child. Yeah. So maybe sorry, I whenever talk about this is talkative. So I like to pass time to more on the audience, like Bobby. Do you want to say something? I saw you there. And also I see Antique, you are there. So sorry, you should have more time to talk. Yeah, Bobby, you want to say something? Yeah. Please.
Hello. Yeah. Well, it's a bit strange working from home in terms of lecturing and teaching. It takes a bit of getting used to, but I think it's okay if you just do lectures. The strange thing is you don't see the people, so you just
you don't know actually what
you
they're doing.
Well, I mean, I always ask them, you interrupt me whenever you want. So it's good to hear somebody say, what happens here, why here, and so on. That's very good. But it turned out to be just the same few people who will stop me and just say, oh, what's that happened? What was that? And so on. And it's always nice to hear. Only thing is, otherwise, you're like talking to the screen. I suppose there's no choice. I'm actually teaching a course in China at the same time, so it's very strange that I teach one course here, next afternoon I'll be in China and talking. But well, it's suppose it works. The other problem I think is to do with labs. So when you come to labs, you can tell them this is what you need to do, and you can sort of take them through some of those things. But what else are they? What are they doing? I mean,
not feel it's real.
I don't know. I mean, I trust that they will do, but it's so different from walking around and say, okay, what's wrong here? What have you got up to? And I don't know. I mean, I suppose if they are working on their own independently and are diligently working, that's okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Other than that, the other aspects of working, writing preparations and other things, well, it is very convenient to work from home. You don't have to travel. Disadvantage I find is actually you tend to do a lot more at home because you don't have the interruption of having to go to the bus or get on the ferry, which I actually missed because you finish stuff and say, okay, I want to do something else. I walk to the ferry, I take a ferry and do something else and walk. So that is the thing that you solve, the necessary interruption. Otherwise, you just carry on and just go on, and it can be just a lot of time. So that's my comment. I actually look forward to going back to see people and talk to them and say, okay, you see their faces, see their surprise or whatever they have, Yeah. Okay, that's my comment.
Yeah. I think the e-space is enjoy some well, and suddenly you feel I still want to see the real people. It's because we are human. Yeah. Thanks, Bobby. Yeah. Okay. How about Antique? Is still there? I saw you there, Antique.
Hey, hi William. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. And maybe you can share some voice from your perspective.
Oh, well, about working from home. So in my perspective, I would say the first month is a blessing to me, to be honest, because what I was doing. So it's really good for me to work from home. because I was writing at that time. So I have the whole day. I have no kids obviously at home, so I can work easily from home. But obviously, somehow I miss the university life, because over there we have colleagues, we have our supervisory team, we can meet with each other. So that's part of the thing is missing from working from home. But still, we can connect with by email or like some other online platforms. So that's not a big deal in terms of connection. But obviously, the in-person meeting is not there. Rest, obviously, there are some drawbacks in terms of communication. For example, I'm using the AUT PC remotely. So sometimes if there is some mishaps happen, so then you have to call the other guys, like the IT guys, to restart your PC. And in sometimes you are in the middle of some stuff, and all of a sudden your computer is crashed over there. So that's a bit of stuff that happens sometimes. So except that, working from home, like in my perspective, obviously I'm a PhD guy, so it's not a big deal. And particularly in my scenario, because obviously I'm mostly in the simulation stuff. Obviously I'm not in the lab work. So obviously there would be some PhD students who are mostly involved in lab work. So for them, it would be a really big change. But for other people, like the computer science departments or some guys with the simulation works, for them, I don't think so, because we have the access to AUT PC, and we have all access to the different softwares. So that's a good thing. And I appreciate the AUT guys, particularly the ICT guys, who work really well in this way to give us the access. And for the last couple of weeks, like 2 weeks, because we are fasting, it's a Ramzan month, so the schedule is a bit out, I would say, but still it's good, it's going on. So I'm very much looking forward to the level 2, that how they will come up with some other opportunities. Maybe we can be able to go back to the university. I'm not sure yet, but hoping that we will be able to go back to the university.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. I see Selman. Selman, do you want to share something? Because I think from engineering and you from computer science, so maybe you like to share some with us from your perspective. Selman.
Thank you, William. We're facing the similar type of issues, having a little bit noise from our the space where we are sitting. But as far as the communication with the students is concerned, my work is related to lab work. I can focus on each and every student easily in this situation when all the students are very close to me.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. How about Ambreen? I see you actually also here. So yes, so if you like to say something, just share with us.
Same. I'm also agree with this. It's easy for as a PhD student for us. We can manage simulation and even as same as you, because we are more three than stronger works than you, because we also do at the whole work at the with the kids whole time, and at the night we are doing the simulation. Even we preparing, because I am also doing a teaching tutorials here. So it's a hard, but more hard than other students, just like a BCS student, graduate student. Is too hard for them, because they haven't any practical exposure. They want a practical exposure, but they haven't any practical exposure. They want to work with a Raspberry Pi or the different hardware, but it's very hard because they're only doing a theoretical, and marking and these things also a little bit more tough for us because now we need to check too much theoretical material, so it's a little bit hard also. In this prospect, this is a hard, but as a teaching, and if you are doing the PhD, it's okay. It's no any big issue for the in our case. But for the bachelor's students and those they want the practical, it's very hard for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Actually, I see the Rupak actually gave a very good message. Try to survey, what you guys need. So I think Selma actually shared me some bits I never thought of, and so I passed to Rupak. So if you guys the other things, I think just share with us, because you don't tell us, we don't know, And also, how about Rashmi? Rashmi?
Yes, well, I'm in the same boat. Yeah, so it's like same for me. It's a bit hard to manage with kids at home, but well, if we do time management, like same like you, I'm working late nights and then managing daytime because she's the only one and totally dependent on me. So she asked me question again and again. So that's why I manage that way. But yeah, but sometimes I feel like it's good if we are working from home. Like sometimes for TAs we have just only half an hour meeting, and if it was the regular time, so we have to go there to attend that meeting only. So sometimes it's good, and yeah, both factors are there. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's yeah. So that's why I think even like a PhD, you guys can have a community. I know like some of you are moms and maybe some of you are daddy as well, and you have study, you have life. It's a little bit hard to get advice from us because we have a secure job. So, but I think if possible, maybe you can also have some community. Even
Yes.
PhD level. You have some like chatting and see what others, because sometimes it's just about how you learn from others, like other experiments, and because you guys in the same situation, and and maybe some works, some not works, and I think it's good to yeah, it's good if someone in your group can maybe steer or initiate this. I believe the need will be quite wide because not like me. When I was PhD, I'm single, no marry, just myself. So it's to me quite straightforward, right? And but for you got your family, you got life, you need to survive, like Auckland, expensive, all these things. So it's hard to get comments from me because I don't have your experiments, your situation. So I think if someone can organize something like for you guys to share, even just share, I think it's help because it's not just you. You feel actually you have similar problem like others, like a mom community and daddy community as a PhDs. I think that will be interesting, and then maybe some seniors mentoring, they can share some, from their, point of view. Yeah, but yeah, maybe you can call this, and I think it will help. I think experiment sharing, information sharing, it has help. I see Sue is there. I try to give everyone a couple of time to, because the time is near the end. Sue, do you want to say something? Sue?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. So how about you?
Yeah.
Anything you want to share with us from your perspective?
Yeah, for me, I think studying at home is very comfortable for me. It's very convenient, but sometimes I need to deal with my internet network because it's very slow, and sometimes if I want to discussion with other people, it's difficult to find them.
Yeah.
Just a description.
So you live in CBD, right? Oh, still actually is my master students, and yeah, we did have the issues when we have this. But we use WeChat. It's Chinese messenger like WhatsApp, but quite popular in China. We use that, and we see sometimes the quality is fluctuate. And I can know sometimes he cannot see me, I cannot see her, and yeah, it's a little bit connectivity issues. Yeah, and also in the CBD, I think sometimes you are quite risky because I know she living in the department, and when you very dense in a very dense situation, and even shopping is a challenge because she have to go walk and buy the food thing. So yeah, the same. I think it's always helpful. I feel you try to find someone with you have similar situations, and because they really understand your issues, and just you don't know. And even once actually sales share with me, it's more about Chinese food buying. I think it's quite helpful. Yeah, I never know. I never have that channel. We just do the old way. But suddenly he shared with me. I say, whoa, it's information sharing. I think is helpful. In the first stage, and then if have some good experiment sharing will be great. Yeah. I think the time is near, and I don't want to occupy the time because it's nearly one day. I know you guys are all tired. So, it's Tech and Peter is there. I just like maybe you give us like youngs, and we have a lot of youngs, and I'm sort of middle, and maybe just one sentence of advice from you perspective, and then we can just end. I think everybody need some relax now. Yeah. So Peter and Tech.
Well, okay.
Yeah, just a couple of sentences. Like you think like
I think,
our age we should.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is just do not kind of get the whole things affected mentally. You just need to just keep doing what you're supposed to do, and keep working hard. And I mean, this kind of unprecedented time is something for us to learn. Everybody is learning. It's not only you or myself. It's also in the learning. So we just learn how to cope with it, and hopefully things. I mean, it's going to be this way in the future. Maybe I don't know, but at least we are already pretty much ready for it with this coming again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I can say.
Thanks, Tag. I think I read the article. They says I think the key message how you handle this COVID-19 situation is how you handle your life.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If you handle this well, it means you handle your life well. If you not handle this well, and probably you need to think about how about others. Even from publication researcher, some people actually keep publishing because it's quiet and no disturbance, and some actually really falling. So thanks, Tag. I think it's life is always with issues, unpredictable things. So if you can learn how to handle this one, I think you probably are more stronger. You can handle other problems. Thanks, Tag. Yeah. So how about Peter? Just a couple of advice to our middle age and youngs. And Peter. Peter. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I think it's at the end. I really thanks you guys' time, especially Peter and Tech. They are quite busy, and especially at the end of the day, it's very tired as well. I really appreciate you can offer us these advices. On the other hand, I really appreciate you guys can join us and share your issues there. And it's not mean stop. It's good. If you get similar issues. I think it's good you can maybe report to Rupak because he is the director of PhD, and he also very positively, collect this sort of feedback because the school is, I think, try to help you guys as well. So yeah, thank you so much, and have a nice evening, and all best, be safe. And that is something I learned. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Okay,
bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
So cute.
OK。
妈妈，我要做披萨。做。老师要给我个 challenge。
OK。
challenge。现在我收拾。给我一下那什么吧。给我拿。